Hey, it's Bogdan. I haven't done one of these in a little while, and I'm working out of my home office, as you can see, so things are a little crazy. But there's really no time like the present to do this, and I've kind of taken a while to kind of get into my normal routine, but I thought that things are seeming a little more normal for me, that I would try to reach out and help out as best as I can. So I've got a post here written by on Reddit by previous statement is the username, and so here it goes. Super long, but I just need someone to listen. Also, the subject line is, how do you just be a normal human being around other adults? Super long, but I just need someone to listen. Hopefully, have any sort of advice and have some non-judgmental compassion. I'll do my best. Uh, I'm a teacher who's been diagnosed with severe anxiety, OCD, psychotic depression, and am most likely autistic, according to my therapist, though I've not been formally diagnosed. Too expensive as of right now. Despite these conditions, I'm able to put on a mask and seem and function um, pretty normal at work. I'm able to put on a mask and seem and function pretty normal at work. I'm good at my job and I love it very much. My students are the reason I wake up in the morning. That's really cool. I mean, what more do you want from a teacher than to actually love his job? That's good on you, man. Um, the students are the reasons I wake up each morning. You'd never guess by how happy, confident, and relaxed I am while teaching that I suffer from these godforsaken conditions each day. I even received a promotion at school last year to go from a kindergarten teacher to a K-6 reading teacher, to give you an idea of how well I can function while teaching. But when I am not actively teaching with a group of kids, it feels like I am being fried from the inside out. That's some tough language there. Um, I'm incredibly socially anxious around other adults, not the kids, of course. It's as if I totally forgot my personality, totally forget how to be just a human being around other teachers. I can't talk, I can't relax. I'm constantly scared they're judging me, staring at me, what have you. It's like my whole nervous system is constantly screaming and on fire. But my conscious brain is just like, what's wrong? There's nothing even happening. I can so relate to that. I'm not laughing at you. I can relate to that. Um, they notice I'm quiet around them, which I'm sure helps. Um, but all I tell them is that I have selective mutism. That's all. There's nothing wrong with them. He's telling us there's nothing wrong with them as people. They're wonderful people, wonderful teachers who I've learned a lot from. I'm glad to be working with them. It's very cool. But it's as if some kind of disconnect, the uncontrollable part of my nervous system goes into freak out mode just being in the same room. I'm just on constant high alert. I don't know how to literally just relax, sit there, and just do my little, just do my work like literally any human being. I don't know how to just sit and be a person. I can teach, talk, laugh, smile, connect with my students on virtually every level, totally, naturally, and calmly. But it's just the exact same thing. I'm sorry, but if it's the exact same setting, just without the kids and actively teaching, I'm an absolute wreck. I'm just I feel terrified and don't consciously know why. The only time I feel like a human being is while teaching. How do you just sit in a room with people and just be a regular human being? I'm dead serious. What do you think about or feel when they're just sitting there quietly doing solitary work? I guess part of me thinks maybe I just have too much energy that I don't know how to express when I don't have the kids around, to use some teaching to get out all of my energy in a positive way. I'm already medicated, by the way. I'm just very concerned over my mental health as a teacher in this way. How sustainable is it to live this way? I love my job, but it's like my brain is just allergic to other adults, to other adult human beings. I have to be able to deal with people and relax. So I don't know your real name, but that's thank you for posting. I mean, for one, as always, it's a really big deal to just say, hey, I have a problem and I need some help with this, and to come here, on this advice subreddit anonymously is a big deal, and this looks like this a real account, so all the more power to you. So I'm not a psychiatrist. I just try to help, and I can actually relate with a lot of what you've written. It's not so much a problem for me now, but I used to have to deal with panic attacks and anxiety, and it was very abrupt, came out of nowhere, or so it seemed. But these things generally don't come out of nowhere. They normally come out of something. So I guess I have a couple thoughts. For one, it sounds like you already have a doctor that you see. You said you're medicated. So I would just encourage you to kind of keep that dialogue going with your doctor. And I don't know how often you see them, but let them know how your medication is working for you. Maybe how it's not. Let them know what some of the things that you're still struggling with are. For a brief time, like when the panic attacks first set in, they gave me a medication, just kind of take it as needed. So if I felt like something was coming on, it would just kind of take the edge off that a little bit with me, which was especially kind of tough because I was dating my now wife at the time, so I wouldn't want to be a total weirdo around her, and so and then I started a new job at that time too, so that didn't make it easy. So I feel like I can relate at least a little bit with some of the anxieties that you have. So maybe that's something to consider when I mention, tell your doctor how you're doing, because maybe they have something like that for you, or they can give you a medication that maybe works a little better when you're going to be in a tough situation. Being able to take something like that ahead of time, even if the medication itself doesn't do a big thing for you, it's this cognitive connection between doing something physical to prepare yourself for the encounter you're about to have, and knowing that it's supposed to help you. And so in a way, it's sort of like priming your mind for the for what you're going into, and knowing that you're going into that with something that's already there to help you. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but it just kind of gives you a little bit of a if nothing else, a confidence boost, which can, really that's a big boon. And so that helped me, and then learning how to breathe helped me a lot. And I know we all breathe, and this probably isn't anything new for you. It sounds like you've been dealing with this for a while, but maybe this is new for somebody that's seeing this or reading your issue and can relate. But it was new for me, and learning to intentionally take deep breaths and slow breaths, breathing in slowly for maybe like a 5 count, and holding it for a second or two, and then breathing out slowly. That made a big difference for me. And then what I would do is I would just do that, and I'd do it discreetly, so that my girlfriend didn't think I was a total weirdo, and I would just kind of do it under my breath, and I tried not to draw attention to myself, and it really sucked suffering with that. And for me, I'm pretty grateful that more or less this passed within a number of months. The lion's share of it, the legitimate panic attacks that come out of nowhere, and if anybody's seeing this or read your post and doesn't understand, like, it doesn't need to make sense. In fact, I won't say the definition because I don't have it in front of me, but to me, the definition of a panic attack is that there isn't any reason for it. Your body reacts like a bear just jumped out of the woods and started chasing you, but you're sitting quietly in a room with other people. So like there's this giant disconnect between what your body is doing, which is freaking out, and what your mind knows is real, which is perfectly normal, calm situation that shouldn't elicit that kind of a reaction. Um, and so definitely plenty of sympathy and no reason for any judgment. So I hope you haven't gotten any. I hope nobody thinks you're, anything negative of you because of this, because there's no reason to. But I hope that helps a little bit. And then there's got to be a cognitive connection between why you're comfortable being a teacher as opposed to not comfortable being out of that position. Why you're comfortable around kids, and why you're not comfortable around adults. And I think it's something to do with you feeling safe. As a teacher, you're sort of the authority in the room. Around kids, you're definitely the authority, and there's a cognitive and emotional kind of a position in that where you're kind of at the top of the hierarchy. And maybe there's something to that. Definitely something for you to think about. But when I'm a pretty friendly guy, and I have my wife teases me. She says I have no problem making friends. Although if I go to a party, I definitely try to make friends with the dogs first, because they're more my kind of people a lot of times. But I have no problem making friends. But then I'm an introvert too, so I'm like a super friendly introvert. So I make a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends, but I mostly just want to hang out and just have some me time. But when I sorry, tangent. I'm not trying to talk about myself. But when I am in that situation where I'm with some people and actually feel some of that anxiety too, sometimes it helps me to remind myself that well, first of all, I try to take a step back. So if there's a social gathering, or there's a couple, even if I'm just like in a group of 3 or 4 people, even if they're friends, and I feel that coming on, I'll just kind of take a step back from the conversation. Even if I don't physically take a step back and remove myself, I'll just choose to be quiet for a very brief time. And during that time, I try to remind myself, I'm like, hey, these are people that are safe. They're not better than me. And what I mean by that, I don't mean that I'm better than them. I just mean a lot of times when I have those feelings, it's because, my buddy John's like really successful, and then, my buddy Nick has, started his own app, and that seems to be really great for his family. And like, what am I doing? And we're all our own worst enemies. I mean, somebody can look at my life and be like, oh, Bogdan, is A, B, C, and D, and gosh, I wish I had some of the things he had, or did some of the things he did. And that's that's just a fact of being a human being. You're always going to compare yourself, and that's not healthy. But when I find myself doing that, taking that cognitive step back and saying, hey, these are people that are wonderful, to use your words. They're people that you should feel safe around. They're people that don't judge you, and even if they do, like, who cares? Like, what's the worst that's going to happen because somebody doesn't know you well enough and maybe doesn't think very highly of you? Like, just going through that thought experiment and playing that out to its logical conclusion. In the end, it really doesn't matter. We're all only on this earth for so many years. And even if you have a big family and you have kids and they have kids, like in 2 to 3 generations, no one's going to remember Bogdan. And so there's some freedom with that, that we don't have to worry so much about what people's opinions of us are. Now, on the other end of that spectrum, I do think we have a moral responsibility, and I do think we have to, worry about how we live our lives and what we do with our lives, and the good that we put out there. But that's a different topic altogether. But anyways, I hope that helps. And as always, you're welcome to message me. I wanted to do this video response. I like doing these because I have a lot to say, and I don't want to write you 10 paragraphs. I'd rather just give you a 10, 15-minute message. And I think it's more personal this way, especially when we're all cooped up indoors. I hope it's kind of cool. But anyways, I'm rooting for you. I hope you do well. I genuinely mean that. I don't want you to feel bad about yourself. We all have our own struggles, and you know, and yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. But feel free to message me back, to write me back, and I hope things go well for you. Let me know if you have any questions, if there's anything else I can do to help, and let me know how things go. Take care, pal.